Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So for as far back as I can remember, every single time there is a big push for gun control, whether on a state level or on a federal level, there is always panic buying that ensues. That leads to ammunition and firearm shortages. Well, this is probably one of the biggest packages that we've ever seen come through Congress in terms of gun control. What's going on with the panic buying these days? Let's talk about it. Now, before we get started, I want to thank one of the sponsors of this video, which is Elite U. Look, not everybody has a bunch of time and money to go to one of these tactical training classes. Elite U offers a web-based video service that's hosted by some of the most elite people in the world.
Hi, welcome to the Elite U. We appreciate your interest in our platform. I'm Jack Nevels. I'm a 25-year special operations veteran.
And I'm Michael Don Vito. I'm a 30-year martial artist, and I've spent the last 20 years teaching special operations close combat.
They teach you everything from open-handed skills, so no weapons, edged weapons, pistols, rifles, carbines. They teach driving tactics, how to clear your home. There's a lot of great information there. Definitely worth checking out. Okay, so let's go and start off by first talking about some of the proposals that Congress has put forth, which will give us some context for the rest of the video. Now, first, age restrictions. The current age to buy a long gun in the United States is 18. They want to move that to 21. So if this passes, anybody who's 18, 19, or 20 would essentially be out their Second Amendment rights. They'd have to wait till their 21st birthday. The next one is going to be a complete all-out ban of so-called assault weapons. Now, we already know that this one's unconstitutional based on the opinion in Heller, which was written by Scalia, that said that anything that's in common use for lawful purposes is therefore protected by the Second Amendment. We know that these are in very common use and for lawful purposes. Therefore, they are protected by the Second Amendment and cannot be banned as a category. The next thing they're trying to push, red flag laws. This is something they've been trying to do for a long time, but they want to make it nationwide. There's several states that already have red flag laws, including Nevada, where I am, but they want to expand that to every state in the union. So they want all 50 states to have some type of mechanism to take things away from people before they will ever get a chance to represent themselves in court. So next up on their list is so-called high-capacity magazines, which we all call standard capacity magazines, because we all have the understanding that whatever it comes with from the factory is the standard capacity for that firearm. Be it 10, 12, 14, 25, or 30 rounds, that is the standard capacity. They consider anything that holds more than 10 rounds to be high capacity because, well, somebody came up with a number. It's totally arbitrary. Somebody came up with it a while back and they just decided to run with it. And so now they've determined by themselves unilaterally that somehow anything that holds more than 10 rounds is considered high capacity, in which case it's not. It's standard capacity for that firearm. Regardless, that's one of the things they're trying to do. And lastly, I mean, there's more to it, but lastly, they're trying to strengthen background checks. One of the things they want to do to strengthen background checks is actually give the FBI more time to sit on things and wait a little bit longer to check on you before they're actually able to hand it over to you. And so there's a lot going on when it comes to expanded background checks. It's not just a matter of, hey, we're going to put more people on it, we're going to look at more fine details. No, there's a lot more to that. So with all of that being said, all of those different things being proposed in both the House and the Senate in different types of bills, what do the stores look like? So here's the surprising part of this video. The stores are still packed with inventory. This is something that I did not expect whatsoever. So I live in Nevada, called a couple stores here in Nevada. They have ample inventory of pretty much everything. There is no shortage to speak of whatsoever, and there's only a slight uptick in the people that are actually going in for stuff. Now, I remember in the past, there was like lines that went out the door, around the corner, and you had to wait an hour just to make it to the front desk. So I called stores in Nevada, decided, okay, well, let's talk about some neighboring states here, decided to call Idaho, and called a couple stores in Idaho. Same thing. I was really surprised. They had a ton of inventory, and as far as, you know, new customers or people coming in excessively, there was only a slight uptick. Now, there's an uptick, but it seems like it's only a slight uptick based on what I was told. So I decided to call a place in Montana where the rest of my family lives. And in Montana, pretty much same thing. Slight uptick, nothing really notable, nothing really to talk about. So it seems like this time, either people just don't think that anything's going to happen and nothing's going to go through, and they feel like, well, we're not going to see all this stuff happen, so I don't need to worry about anything, and they're just staying at home and not buying stuff. Or from the last panic buys that everybody had over, you know, the last 2 years, they're already good. They have everything that they need. They already have things stocked up in the safe or in the cabinet or whatever it is, and they don't feel an immediate need to actually run out and get stuff because they already did. they already panic bought once before, and because most people on average don't go out to the range very often, they still have a lot of what they already purchased, so they don't need to. And another thing is, I mean, I'm just kind of assuming here, is that people are just not paying attention and they don't see it. Now, I'm not one for panic buying. I never advocate for panic buying whatsoever because it just causes more headaches than anything else. People end up, out. People who need things can't get things. I mean, it's a shortage, right? So you end up with people who absolutely need something and just cannot find it. And so I don't advocate for panic buying or getting out there and, ultra stockpiling or doing anything like that when things like this happen. I advocate for over time. Go out, get a couple things every couple weeks, whatever your paycheck allows you to do once a month, and get what you can afford, and do that all the time. Eventually you'll end up with all the stuff that you need, and when situations like this happen, you won't have to worry about it anymore. But it's also possible people just got smarter and realized that this is probably going to happen, and maybe I'll just stay away before the prices inflate and just go absolutely out of control. I'm just going to sit back and just let this one pass. So I'm not sure exactly what is causing the fact that people aren't panicking based on everything that I just spoke about, but we've had like half of these bills be introduced in the past. I mean, half of them, right? So we're talking about one or two of these bills be introduced in the House or the Senate, and that usually is enough to spark people to buy. But this time, it doesn't seem like that's the case. Again, just a slight uptick on the 3 states that I talked to. This is obviously something that could be different across the country. You could have a totally different scenario on the East Coast versus the West Coast, and the Midwest could be experiencing something totally different too. So for me, in my experience with states that are on the West, seems like everything's just pretty much good to go, and hopefully it stays that way because it's just nice to be able to walk in and see everything that you need is still there. But we'll see. As things get closer and things start getting voted on, that could change. So we'll stay up on top of that. I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day.